Bet you won't beat me.
Nah, I am the very best at Jenga. Watch this. I'm going to get this one right here. I'm the best. I'm so good at this. No! Oh, well, at least it's good timing.
Why's that?
Well, it's time to start the show.
What are we learning about today?
Today, we are learning about the Tower of Babel in the Bible.
So exciting.
Walter's here! Hey, you made it just in time, buddy.
Let's see what he's brought us today.
Yeah, I got some fun things for you. We got this one. You can have a look.
Ooh, it's the craft.
Yep, absolutely. And then this is this week's mystery item.
It's all in different languages.
That's right. That one there looks like it's in Japanese. That one looks like it's Spanish. Do you know why I sent you that today?
It's confusing.
That's all right. We'll go check out the preach so that we can figure it out. And while you do that, we're going to go get the craft ready. Okay, so when I was younger, I had pet birds. I loved it. I had pet budgies, I had pet quarians, but the bird that I always wanted was called a peach face. It was this really cool looking bird that had like a peach on their face. Like the face was a different color to the rest of their feathers. They were beautiful. And so I had a friend who was going to sell me two of his, but I needed another cage. And so my dad and I, we bought all the different pieces because we were going to build a custom cage so that potentially we'd be able to have a space in this cage for these two birds to have babies and eventually have a whole bunch of these birds. I was so excited. And so the plan was my dad was at work and I was going to wait for him to come home so that together we'd build this bird cage because he knew how to do it. He knew the way to make sure that it was stable and that it would work. But it came to about lunchtime and my dad was still a few hours away from coming home and I got annoyed that he wasn't there. I was like, I want to build this thing now. You know what? I don't need my dad's help. I reckon I can do it my way. I think I know best. And so I went to the shed and I grabbed all the pieces and I tried to build it myself. Then my dad came home and he looked at what I'd done and said, I don't think that's going to work. There's a few gaps and the birds might escape. I don't think it's going to work. And I said, nope, I know best. I've done it properly. It's going to be totally fine. And so my dad said, okay, well then have a go, do it your way and let's see what happens. And so the next day we picked up these birds and we put them in the bird cage. We left it outside. I was so excited. I went to bed, woke up early the next morning, ready to go outside to have a look at my birds, and they'd escaped. They had gotten out and they were gone. They'd flown away, never to be seen again. You see, in that moment, I thought I knew best. I thought that my way was the right way. There's no way I needed to listen to my dad. I could do it myself. I didn't need anybody else's help. But the result of that is that I lost my birds and we had to go get a brand new bird cage and we had to go get new birds again. It was expensive and it made me cry and I was upset and it hurt. And it was all because I thought that I knew best and that my way would be fine. You see, we all have moments where we try to do things our own way. We think that we know best. We know better than everybody else. And the thing is, sometimes you might be okay. You might get away with it. But then there's other times where you think you know best, but there is actually someone who knows better, but you don't listen to them. And it can lead to pain and hurt and sadness. You see, in the Bible, there's a story of a group of people who had this exact thing happen, where they thought they knew better than God. But God loved them so much that he didn't want them to get to this place where they would destroy themselves. And so God stepped in and did something a little bit crazy to save them. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. Now it's time for us to take a look at this week's craft. Isla, what have you done?
First, what I did was I colored all of the puzzle pieces with all different colors and rainbow. Then what I did was I colored the outside in my favorite color, purple. Then I took a photo of myself and put it in the middle.
Isla, your craft looks absolutely amazing. I love seeing what you do every single week, but you know what else I love seeing? What you create every single week. So if you do a cool craft like this, make sure you get your teacher, your parent, or your kids' pastor to send it through to us. There's an email in the description below this video.
Well, now it's time for the Bible story. Buckle, will you read it for us this time?
Absolutely. At the beginning of the Bible, everybody in the world spoke the same language. And so as people started to travel and look for places to live, they found a large grass plain and decided that that would be a great place to build their home. But after a little while, the people all said to each other, let's build the biggest city that anybody has ever seen. And let's build a tower that is so tall it reaches up beyond the clouds. The people wanted to become the most famous and important people in the entire world, and they wanted to do it without God's help. But after a while, God looked down and saw what the people were doing. He knew that they were making the tower to try to make themselves more important. And so God created new languages. He changed the words that people spoke so that they couldn't understand each other. And so the people stopped building and spread out all around the world in groups according to the language that they all spoke. That place became known as Babel because God changed the people's languages. The thing about this story is, at this moment in the Bible, from what we understand, the people in this place, all of these people spoke the same language. There weren't different languages like we have now. And so the people thought, let's make a tower celebrating ourselves. Let's show the world that we are the most important people. We are the most important thing. We don't even need to worry about God. Our tower will be so big that we will be compared to God. People will think that we are that amazing. And so they start building this tower to show off. And the thing is, God knew that if he left them alone and let them do their own thing, eventually it would lead to their pain and their hurt. And God didn't want that to be the case. And so God steps in and does something a little bit crazy. He changes everybody's language so that they all speak different languages in groups, and that causes them to spread out. But here's the thing, earlier in the Bible, God specifically told people, I want you to spread out. I want you to go into the world, go and make places to call home all over the planet. But instead, the people were doing the opposite of what God said, and they were trying to all come together to make themselves the most important thing. And so God steps in, he changes their languages into different groups, which causes them to then spread out and to move around the world. You see, God knows what's best for us. His plan is good. And so we have a choice. We can try to live life our own way, or we can listen to what God says and do what he wants us to do, because that's how we can live our best life. And so for some of us, that might look like reading our Bible and praying and being kind to others instead of doing our own thing and just doing things that make us happy and being mean to other people. You see, we have to make that choice. Who are we going to be, and are we going to live God's way, trusting that God knows best? I know for me, I don't want to be like the Tower of Babel people. I don't want to try and do my own thing and think that I am the smartest person. I want to trust that God knows what's best, listen to his instruction, and live my life his way. And so that's the same challenge for you as well. Who will you be? Will you try to be the smartest, most important person in your world? Or will you trust that God knows best and live your life his way? The choice is yours.
Quiz time, quiz time.
It's time for the Bible quiz. So I hope you were paying attention during the Bible story. The way this is going to work is we're going to ask you some questions from the Bible story and give you two possible answers. If you think the first answer is correct, hands on your
head.
If you think the second answer is correct, hands on your
shoulders.
Here we go with question number 1. In the story today, they built a tower. What did they use? Did they use stones or did they use jelly? You've got 5 seconds. Isla, what did they use?
Did they use bricks?
They used bricks. I don't know how you'd build a tower out of jelly, but it would be delicious.
So yum.
I know. Question number 2. In the story, what did God do? Did he make everybody sing? Or did he change their languages? You've got 5 seconds. Isla, what do you think the answer is?
Did God change their language?
God changed their language, that's right. So hands on shoulders. And question number 3, what was the name of the tower? Was it the Tower of Babel or the Tower of Brisbane? You've got 5 seconds. Isla, what's the answer?
The Tower of Babel?
That's right, the Tower of Babel. I'm sure that you all did amazing.
Well, that means it's the end of the show.
I know, but make sure you come back next week because we're learning all about Abraham and Sarah's baby.
I cannot wait to see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.